Hey YouTube. So I'm gonna try something that I haven't tried for a while. I'm gonna go live on Facebook at the same time if it works. And I'm just gonna do some reading out of the book of Revelation and the book of Ezekiel, and it ought to be fun. So it says I'm going live on Facebook. Alright. It says, does it say I'm live? It's thinking about it. This is the first time I've tried Facebook Live from my computer for a while. There we go. It says I'm live. Hello, Facebook. So I'm going to read some stuff out of the Bible. Okay, it says I'm live. And I'm live there. Hey, Davey313, good to see you. Alright, so I noticed something kind of interesting when I was reading. And I hope the audio is working okay. It says that there's audio, but I don't know. Hopefully there is. Okay. Go back over here. Sensational and Allison, good to see you guys. Yeah, the world's getting crazy. Michael J. Spencer, good to see you. It's getting really crazy. Okay, so angels, this is Revelation 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire from the altar and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And a third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And a third part of the sea became blood, and a third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So there's more angels that sound, but I want to read something in Ezekiel chapter 10. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen. Something just happened there, I think. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, everything looks like it's working. I don't know what happened in my headphones. I just heard a sound. Hopefully everything's still working. Okay. I totally lost my place there. I'll just start right at the beginning again. Then I looked, and behold, In the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them, as it were, a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub and stood over the threshold of the house, and the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of the brightness of the Lord's glory. And the sound of the cherubim's wings was heard even to the outer court, as the voice of the Almighty when he speaketh. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed with linen, saying, Take fire from between the wheels, from between the cherubims, then he went in and stood beside the wheels, and one cherub stretched forth his hand from between the cherubims unto the fire that was between the cherubims, and took thereof, and put it into the hands of him that was clothed with linen, who took it and went out. And there appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hand under their wings. And when I looked, behold, the four wheels by the cherubims, one wheel by the cherub, and another wheel by another cherub. And the appearance of the wheels was as the color of beryl stone. And as for their appearances, they four had one likeness, as if a wheel had been in the midst of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides, as they turned not, they turned not as they went, but to the place whither the head looked, they followed it. They turned not as they went. And their whole body, and their backs, and their hands, and their wings, and the wheels were full of eyes round about, even the wheels that they four had. Okay, sorry. I'm having a hard time reading. As for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O wheel! And every one had four faces. The first face was the face of a cherub, and the second face was the face of a man, and the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle. And the cherubims were lifted up. This is the living creature that I saw by the river of Chebar. And when the cherubims went, the wheels went by them. And when the cherubims lifted up their wings to mount from the earth, the same wheels also turned not from beside them. When they stood, these stood. And when they were lifted up, these lifted up themselves also, for the spirit of the living creature was in them. Then the glory of the Lord departed from off the threshold of the house, and stood over the cherubims. And the cherubims lifted up their wings, and mounted up from the earth in my sight. When they went out, the wheels also were beside them, and every one stood at the door of the east gate of the Lord's house, and the glory of the God of Israel was over them. This is the living creature that I saw under God, the God of Israel, by the river of Chebar, and I knew that they were the cherubims. Everyone had four faces apiece, and everyone had four wings, and the likeness of the hands of a man was under their wings. And the likeness of their faces was the same faces which I saw by the river of Chebar. Their appearances and themselves, they went every one straight forward. That's crazy. I have no idea what that's talking about. But I think it has something to do with prayers of the saints, and also the the wrath that would be getting poured out. I'll just read this again in Revelation 8. Okay, and I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. So maybe this is a different scene or whatever, a different time or whatever, but I don't think it is. I think it's the same thing that they're seeing, because he's talking about being in the Lord's house. That's like one thing that I think is crazy. Where's the Lord's house in 2020? Okay, back in the day, it was, well, over there in Jerusalem, Israel, that area over there was written about in the Bible all over the place. But there was visions shown to these prophets of the time of the end, and they were all happening. Jerusalem was involved in all of them. And actually, that just reminded me of something. Jerusalem was involved in all of them, but at the end, Jerusalem is not on the ground. It comes down out of heaven from God and is revealed. And there's a lot of verses that say, like, the land that was hidden, or the promised land, that was it was an inheritance. That just reminded me. Let me read 2 verses, one out of Hebrews, or a couple of verses out of Hebrews. Chapter 11, starting in verse 8. By faith Abraham, when he was called out to go into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith he sojourned in the land of promised land, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. That's the holy city up there. It's not of this world. And that's faith. But in Zechariah 12, we see what happens at the end, and it's a battle against Jerusalem. I'll just read Zechariah starting in chapter 12. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts their God. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadramon in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shammai apart, and their wives apart, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. So that's chapter 12. Now I'm going to read chapter 13. In that day there shall be a fountain opened to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord. And his father and his mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesieth. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophets shall be ashamed every one of his vision when he hath prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. But he shall say, I am no prophet, I am a husbandman, for man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, What are these wounds in thine hands? Then he shall answer, Those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third part shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, It is my people, and they shall say, The Lord is my God. That's good stuff. Let's see, I'm going over to Facebook to make sure it's working. Sounds like it's or it looks like it's working. I don't really know how they changed Facebook, so it's kind of a new way, I guess. So I was going to read some more in Revelation, but I just wanted to talk about, maybe I got to play a video, and I don't know, the sound isn't really important, and I'm hoping that the sound works on Facebook, but I'm kind of doubting that it will. It's a short video, so I'm going to go there and let's see. Okay, I got to warn you that, okay, this is the first time that I saw this on Facebook today. A video of how they test for coronavirus. And I have to tell you, I have no words. I'm going to show you the video. It's like almost graphic. I think that this is not a safe medical procedure. I don't think that... I mean, I'll give you my personal situation. I had a surgery in the top of my... They drilled a hole in the roof of my mouth once because my... I don't know if it was something having to do with some work on one of my teeth, and it got up into my sinus, and I got an infection. And that's really delicate stuff up there. And that's all I know. It makes me cringe when I watch this. I would never let anyone do that to me, ever. And what I'm saying is there's something more. This is insane people is what it is in this world. There's insane people. And I'm talking about the average people. Oh, it's just a medical procedure, Joe. Yeah, you have fun with that. Because I'll tell you, I'm just going to show you the video. I have to just show it to you. Alright, I'm going to have to move out of the way. And everything should be set. Whoops. Should be set up. Okay, I'm sorry I have to play it. Ugh. tell you what. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with these people. We have a human body that we're created. We all know how that happens. What I'm saying is we are created inside the stomach or the womb of our mother. And this is not, I saw that, Davey. It hurts me to watch, like, that's what they consider normal in the hospital. Okay. First of all, if we're talking about coronavirus or whatever it is, this sickness that they're so worried about that shut down the world, and also is turning into what is obviously going to be something that overreaches everyone's freedom and everyone's unalienable rights, if I'm saying that right. I saw a video today of a guy that was in the hospital, and they ended up sticking him with a needle, and then he said no. He was saying no the whole time. He ended up crying afterwards. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that. This was like five medical people in a hospital room. A guy sitting there, and he went live on Facebook. He's like, no, you're not going to do that to me. And of course, by the time they did it, they put the phone down facing the, whatever it was sitting on, so you couldn't see anything, but you could still hear everything. They tackled him, held him down, and jabbed him with a needle. I don't know what it was for. I don't know the details, but what I'm saying is that's not medical health care. No. That is assault. So what I'm saying is, when I see this coronavirus test, I see something, like, I'll be honest. John saw, okay, just think of what John said in Revelation 13. This could be something that John, if you saw the thumbnail for my video, I had a scorpion with like a vaccine needle, because John says some things. First of all, he sees these locusts that come up, and there came out of the smoke, this is in Revelation 9 verse 3, there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Okay, so then that was in Revelation 9, but in Revelation 13, you got to remember that John was seeing this as a vision. He was shown the world we live in, and he had to just describe what he was seeing. Okay, John wouldn't know what a vaccine is. John wouldn't know what shoving a swab up in someone's brain was. What I'm saying is, in our society, with all of our medical professionals and everything, and the science that we do understand a lot, but that has led us, you saw the video, that is not normal at all. You think I'm going to go to a hospital and have someone do that to me? Never. That's like messing with what God made. God made me. And this body that I have, I'm thankful that I have it. And I don't want to mistreat it. I don't want to shove big things in my brain, and it almost looks like he's shoving it into the forehead. Now, here's what John says. Just think about this. Okay, I can see the case or the story of someone saying, or laws being made where you have this coronavirus, you have to either be vaccinated or tested. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to go to the store and buy anything. You're not going to be able to do much. You won't be able to get a job. What I'm saying is, I can see this happening right now. And John wrote another thing that he saw in Revelation 13. He's talking about the image of the beast, that the image should both speak and cause as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, so that's everyone, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. I'm not saying I know what all that means. I'm just saying that I'm never going to get vaccinated, and I'll use deadly force to stop someone from doing that to me. I'm just being honest. No one has the authority to do that and I'm talking about just the test. Who knows if they come out with a vaccine or something, but I'll give you my honest thoughts on that too. The government or whatever, they're not going to come out with anything. There's not enough time for that. They need like a year or something to come out with a legitimate vaccine or more. And the thing that I see happening is also, I get the idea from Revelation. And there's going to be someone, a man, very successful man in this world, that does amazing things somehow. He's going to come up with a cure or something to ensure that coronavirus isn't a problem. I don't know. That's just what I just think, and you guys know who I'm talking about, I'm sure. Elon Musk. You know, the guy that's doing all the things that the guy in the Bible does that everybody's ignoring? Like all the Christians are ignoring it. There's a dragon flying up in heaven. John saw that. And he saw a woman clothed with the sun. We saw that September 23rd, 2017. And John saw a beast coming up out of the earth. And then he saw it make fire go down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And it was called a dragon. It was dragon. And there was war in heaven. That's up in the sky. I think it's ridiculous that all these YouTube channels, and I like these channels, and I'm not against them. What I'm saying is there is something going on where I can just read this verse in my Bible to you. I can just read it. It says, and I always use this verse because this verse is just so straightforward. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's just one verse. So then when we have a man that invents a rocket that literally makes fire come down from heaven for people to watch, I'm the crazy one? Sorry, it's not me. I'm the one that just believes what John said. That's his testimony. He said he saw that. I see it too. You want to see it I'll pull up a video of it so you can see it too. Because I'm not crazy. Not at all. In fact, we'll watch this video without any sound probably. Because I'll give you the sound. Okay, there's a city, a holy city, the city of God's righteous ones. There is a city, there's a sanctuary, there's the temple of God, and this is all in heaven, and that's all up where this shuttle's going. Okay, this is a shuttle launch. But let me play the sound here just for a minute. Play this video for about a minute.
To give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot, and the host to be trodden under foot.
Yeah,
and they will go
there they
up
are.
and trample on the land of my chosen ones.
Coming in like meteors.
But the city of
real
my
fast. You're gonna
righteous
do a
ones will
final
be a
burn here in
hindrance
just a
to their
moment.
horses.
And he doeth great wonders.
Okay, listen to the verses, or the verse that he's going to say twice, and tell me that there's another thing that we should be looking for. Why did John mention seeing this dragon and his tail casting the third of the stars down? Okay, just watch.
So that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Okay, so I just got to remind you guys that, yeah, I'm going to record it. I like it. I got the sound on there. Sorry. That was when I was recording this background, obviously. Okay, why does Celebrate Truth never talk about this? Why does Nate Wolf never talk about this? Why does Dean Odell? Well, he's starting to. But why don't these people talk about this simple Bible verse? They don't comprehend this simple Bible verse. Adam Fink, Justin Best, Rob Skiba, Zen Garcia. How come none of you talk about the actual fire that Elon Musk is making come down out of heaven? Because it's in your Bible. John saw this. And so when people are talking about the coming Antichrist, yeah, you'll probably know when it's a little too late if you're not paying attention. I know, Lori, they don't see it yet. But is that just unbelief? And I'm not saying unbelief is like some bad thing, or I'm not saying that, oh, you're not saved because of unbelief. I'm saying, oh, let me find an example. I'll have to do a search here. Jesus, okay, when they were out on the boat, let me think, and he was talking, the leaven of the Pharisees. Sorry, I gotta go here, and I gotta just show you something that happened to Jesus. And I think it's the same thing that's happening now to me and like Lori and people that okay. I'm waiting for it'll take a while, I guess. Fire's hot. Fire's real. If I had a lighter and I held my hand here, how long would I be able to hold that lighter underneath my hand before I felt heat and it was real? And I'd go, whoa! Because it'd be real. Okay, so I guess this would be in Matthew 16, I think. I gotta, whoops. I should probably just turn in my Bible. I'll read it on the screen here. The Pharisees, wait, do I want to start here? I'll start in verse 6. Then Jesus said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. Which when Jesus perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Okay, this isn't the version I'm looking for. What other book is that in? Or, I mean, that's not the book. I'm looking for, like, in Luke, maybe. Sorry. Oops. I'm trying a different way here. Oh, my computer's just terrible when I'm streaming on Facebook. And I'm gonna go look at Facebook right now. Hey, Thomas Morgan. Shane Gersowaks. Sorry if I butchered that. Good, I'm glad Facebook's working and the audio seems to be working. I hope so. That's cool. Because it's been like probably 6 months since I've really been able to do Facebook from my computer and do it somewhat efficiently. Okay, not Matthew. Okay, so anyway, what he says though is he asked them about the miracle basically that he did feeding the 5,000 or whatever, and he's like, and how, like, he's making sure that they understand that he did a miracle there, or they helped him do it or whatever. They handed out food, I guess, and he's like, how is it that they didn't comprehend that a miracle had been done, you guys. They just didn't. My computer's locked up. Okay, there we go. So, when, hey, the Blood Saves, good to see you. And Kelly Lowry. The chat's catching up here. Okay, there we go. I think that's what's happening. They're not, like, I'm not saying they're of little faith. I'm saying that, let me read a verse that says what I'm trying to say. It's in Ezekiel, like chapter 12 or something. It says exactly what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's at the end of chapter 12. For there shall be, okay, verse 25 in Ezekiel 12. For I am the Lord, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. Oh, I totally missed it. No, that's not it. Oh, okay, I guess I can keep reading there. It was after that. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word, and will perform it, saith the Lord God. I think this is why the house of Israel is a rebellious house, because, yeah. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesieth of times that are far off. That is what is happening to them. And let me see, there was another, I don't know if it was in Ezekiel. There's another place where it says, I'm trying to remember where it is. It says something, maybe you guys will know where it's at. It says something like, I say to you to read this or whatever, and they say back, I'm not learned or learned, and then like they can't read, like it's not for them or something. I'm like, no, that's the thing. Like the things that are happening right now are the things that all the people are saying. The coming deception. There's no coming deception. We're in the middle of it. The coming World War III or Armageddon. No. That's now. And it's a few things. It's space versus heaven. It's space exploration versus the throne of God. It is flat Earth versus a spinning space pair. All in these last 5 years. This is the time when people are being sealed in their forehead with the seal of the living God, or a different seal or mark. But I just have to say, I can't imagine what it's like to be a different person than who I am and be able to tell me, like the different person being able to tell me that I'm in error or that that's not what it means when it just says it. It just says it. And all I'm doing is making an observation of the world we live in, the reality we live in, and saying, hey, that's happening. Wow. John saw it, and now we're seeing it. And the thing that really makes me keep saying this is September 23rd, 2017. All these channels on YouTube, all these people were hyped up about that. And they still believed that that was a fulfillment of Revelation 12, the first 2 verses. So then they stopped believing it after that. That's the only conclusion I can come up with. They're being deceived by the dragon is deceiving them, certainly. Which is scary. But that's what it says in Revelation 12. The dragon was waiting to devour her child as soon as it was born. You guys are going to be devoured up? I hope not. Like Kelly Lowry says, a full armor of God is a necessity. Yeah, it is. Yes. And you know what? Davey 313 says it's always been a spiritual warfare. And you couldn't be more right on. Because like in Ephesians 6:12, it says that we don't struggle against flesh and blood. I'm flesh and blood. You're flesh and blood. Rockefeller's flesh and blood. The Illuminati. Everyone's always saying they, talking about they're going to do this. They're doing that. Like they're planning a world reset. No, they're not doing anything. There's no people doing anything like that. There's people like the governments, like Trump and all the governments in the whole world right now that are freaking out because they have no answer. And there's people in their country that are having a problem. There's people everywhere in the world that are having a problem. That's why you can't go to your restaurant. Yeah, that's why you can't go to the bar. That's why you can't do a lot of things. A lot of you can't go to work. That is because we're in these times. And that's what's crazy to me is when John says he saw something up in heaven and all the Christian YouTubers, they all jump on that and they notice, oh yeah, this is going to happen even before it happened. And then we watched it happen. And there was like, wow. And then everybody just quit. Because the very next verse, John looks back up into the heaven again, up into the sky, and what does he see? He sees a red dragon. He sees a dragon flying up in heaven. So then right after, in reality, once we have this sign that everybody's all hyped about, then why do you not get hyped about the other thing that's up there that's deceiving all of you? And it's clear. It says it right in the Bible. In Daniel 8, he saw this little he-goat wax great, even to the host of heaven. I don't know. All I'm saying is that watchman, that word is overused by people on YouTube. I have not seen any watchmen on YouTube. Because I'm very active on YouTube. Some of you might notice. In lots of other channels, I'm very active. And I go to channels that you guys don't even go to. Like space channels. People that are giving updates on these things. But I do it for a reason. Like there was I think it was called Space News Pod. I think it's a podcast that I'm subscribed to. And they were, yesterday I think it was, they were doing a live stream. And I got in there and I just put in some verses. Because they know they're in a better position to understand these things than a lot of Christians are. Because they actually know about these rockets and how they separate, and the things that they specifically do that Daniel and John know from 2,000 years ago. How's that? Because when I was in there and I wrote down that verse. I said, and he doeth great one. Like a lot of these guys on the space enthusiasts, they don't like Bible verses to be in their chat, but when you put the right ones in there, they get kind of interested. They're like, what? Because I said, that's John saw something in Revelation 2,000 years ago, basically in a vision. He saw someone making fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, or a beast doing that. And I wrote Falcon 9 ? And the guy's like, oh yeah. He saw what I was saying, because that's exactly what the Falcon 9 does. It comes up out of the earth, speaking like a dragon, and then it comes back down, making fire come back down with thrust, so that it doesn't crash into the earth. And that's what I showed you in that one video. But so then I showed him another verse. He started talking about the space shuttle. And so I showed him the verse, Daniel 7, verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And then I wrote, space shuttle? And there is something that those space enthusiasts or whatever, that they're going to understand before the Christians will, because the Christians are afraid to research it. And a lot of the Christians are like, no, it's fake. It's all fake. Which is a big mistake. Just to say something's fake, just to discount it. It's not fake. It's up in the sky. It's signs in the heavens. It's great wonders that are deceiving mankind. Landing a rocket is not being done by anyone other than Elon Musk, an orbital class rocket. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I just had to come on here and, like, this world's crazy. They want to jab a needle in your arm. They want to shove some swab up your brain. You know, what is a lobotomy? Like, that's got to be close to a lobotomy. What testing that's not a medical procedure. That's like an assault on the brain. Something wrong with this world. Medical procedures, just because something's done in a hospital, doesn't mean it's like not witchcraft or wickedness. Like abortion. That's another one. Abortion is just straight up murder. Murder. And I'm not in a position where I can say, what about rape? What about... I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if there's a woman that has a child growing in her body, it's not a matter of the right of the mother. She's the one that got pregnant. Okay? I don't think there's a woman in the world that hasn't figured out how to not get pregnant. And I'm not talking about birth control. I'm talking about there's only one way to do it, and if you don't do it, you won't get pregnant. So, rights? No, that was a decision, okay? So that was a decision. So as far as rights go, a woman has the right to murder her child in this world, legally. And they want to stick a swab up your brain. Who do you trust? Like, seriously, who do you trust? I don't trust these people. I don't trust any people. I trust in the Lord that made me and knows me and formed me in the womb. Before I was even born. Like, it's the end of the world when these things are happening. All these different genders and putting gender in a blender. And then yeah, like 5G, like that could be, I mean, you could see it happening. You could see, oh, we develop a technology and there's very little quiet news about the health factor, and the technology is just so good that people really want it, or that's what they push it as, and then they start putting it up. And what if it did something to your ability to get oxygen in your blood, or what if it did these things? It would just happen and people would croak and it would just have happened. No one's going to stop it. I see people are lighting them on fire. That might stop it, or it might slow it down. And to be honest, if the science is and will be more looked into, obviously, but if it is a real negative thing for health, if I was a guy installing it, I'd watch my back. Like, people are not going to take kindly to killing other people with technology out of ignorance. Oh, it killed a bunch of people? What do you mean? I didn't know that would do it. You wouldn't think that it could do that. Well, after the fact, it's kind of a little late. So, and there is instruments that we can use to measure some of these things, and it's the end of the world. Scientists are religious nuts. I'm just checking out the chat here. Sirach chapter 4, it tells you not to give your rights up even if it costs you your life, and God will be standing next to you. Yeah. Well, you know what? That was something in the Vision of Paul earlier that I read, a video that I uploaded or streamed, the Vision of St. Paul. And he said, I mean, some things that are similar to that, that God gives man the right to do what he desires. That's what this life is you do as you desire. And it's either going to serve God or it's not. And like in the Vision of St. Paul, it was everybody had an angel and there was the spirit, and if the spirit and the angel were rejoicing or something with when the soul passed out of the body, that it would go to God, and these impious, malicious ones or whatever, they would go into a different place of torment, like Sheol, or I can't remember exactly what it said in there, but there's so much going on than just our flesh and blood physical world. It's like definitely the focus of all these heavens and everything happening above us is also happening on the earth, and maybe just in ways we don't understand. But like an example is in Revelation 14, John said he saw the Lamb and 144,000 with him on Mount Zion. That's up in heaven. And I believe that that's happening on the earth right now. And there's a war in heaven, and there's a war on the earth. Michael's going to win that war, and the saints are going to win this war. So, and like, that's the funny thing is numbers. Like, if you could have the whole world gathered against a teeny group of people, and the teeny group of people ends up winning because of their God. That's like written in this book in the end. And then that teeny group of people turns into an innumerable multitude before it's all over. So if you're a person that is still hiding from these things, I would give it a second look and a second chance or whatever, and realize the reality of the situation, the times we live in. That's my thoughts. I mean, that's what I would say to anyone is, yeah, Kelly Lowry, you're right. Don't even take the test. Because that's not even a test. That's like not even a test. That's just like weird. I'm sure it breaks something in your head. Ugh. Gives me the creeps. All right, guys, I'm going to end the Facebook video, and then I'm going to watch the replay, and hopefully the audio works, because then I'll be going on Facebook a lot more. Hey, Jerry Rogers. Good to see you. All right, guys, on Facebook, have a good one. Okay, that ended, I think. There we go. Your video has ended. Okay, good deal. So, YouTube, what do you guys think? Hey, Venus Cupcake. Good to see you. And the Blood Saves. I don't know if I might have already said hi to the Blood Saves, but Davey313 says Armageddon. Yeah, I think it's close to that. I don't know how to spell it actually. Armageddon. I don't know. We know what you mean. The test will be taking DNA. Yeah, who knows what else it'll be taking. Hey, Eugene12, how you doing? Good to see you. 6 inches up the nose, 6 feet apart. That's a stupid number again. Yeah, that number's everywhere, isn't it? The test will show positive. See, and that just makes sense to me. Like, if coronavirus, if they don't really know, like, what they're talking about, couldn't it just be that, like, a lot of people have coronavirus when they stick a swab up your brain? Maybe that kills a bunch of old people. Grandma, come here. Oh, now you gotta be quarantined and die. What's wrong with this world? Sorry, it's messed up. This world is messed up. 3.3 people unemployed. Roll on the floor. Ecozones? I'm not sure what that is, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, the meek will inherit the earth. St. Peter, good to see you. Awesome. Put the full set of God's armor on, brothers and sisters. This is real. It is. Like, think of if John just saw, because he was viewing the time of the end. Think if he saw people getting vaccinated in their arm or whatever, or like here in their arm, you know, get like if you get a IV in your. What I'm saying is, what if John just said you're getting a mark in your hand or in your forehead? It's just something to think about. I don't know that he is, but he said that there's going to be some time when a man, what did it say? The beast in his image, and I think it was a man, would be doing this, whatever he did, and it would cause everyone to get a mark in their hand or in their forehead, and if they didn't have the mark, they couldn't buy or sell. Just think about it. You can't go in. Oh, here's another thing. Hold on a second. Here's another thing. You can't go in to the store till I check your temperature and your forehead. What if John saw that? They had something in their forehead. You never know. Yes, the blood saves you, right. It is the heavens. There is a war going on in heaven, and we can see it with our eyes if we want. If you watch a SpaceX launch, a SpaceX Dragon launch, you'll see war in heaven. Because remember, there's 4 angels holding back the 4 winds from hurting the earth. So that dragon is fighting against those angels. And I'm assuming that they're Michael's angels. That was cool. All right, you can go buy and sell. Nah, back of the line. I'm not crazy. I sure hope some of these YouTube channels start to... Because it probably looks pretty weird to people outside of these little communities, these followers of these channels. If you're not a follower of these channels and you go and read your Bible and then you mention something in the chat about it, like fire coming down from heaven, you won't get nothing. You'll be like, you'll probably get blocked out of their chat for quoting the verse. What I'm saying is there's a lot of fake people out there that... I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not saved. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying they have a serious case of unbelief. And the only medicine is belief. So, I don't know. Yeah, the Ascension of Isaiah, chapter 7, I think. The angels are Satan and his angels, and Samuel and his host. Maybe that's the same thing. They're all fighting in the firmament, in darkness. Yeah, what is a Fitbit? I don't know what a Fitbit is. No Fitbit for me. Fitbit. It's probably something obvious. We have to choose, and I choose to refuse. That's a good one. Wristband, yeah, that's another thing. I actually think there's a country that's already doing that is already writing laws about that people would have to have a wristband, or I don't remember what it was. Maybe that was Denmark, which I think means the mark. Denmark. Biometric scanner, says Artist of LL Yan. Davey312 says, oh crap, I'm old. You got nothing to worry about, Davey. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to fear in this world. Don't fear anything in this world like that. That's, like, when I think about it, if you really, like, think seriously about what would you be able to do, like, if someone was gonna take your life, if you didn't, like, the situation that people always bring up, like, if you didn't renounce your faith in God, that they would kill you, and you didn't know how they would kill you, and maybe it would be really bad, like, I don't know if I would be able, I sure hope I would, but as far as pain and that horror of that a person feels when something in their body is failing, like when there's an accident, or if someone cuts their leg off or something, and there's whatever it is, if there's an accident and it's life-threatening, there's a certain, I don't know if it's a spirit or what it is, but there's a certain thing that comes over you that puts a different kind of fear than you've ever felt when your body was all in one piece. Like, when there's something wrong with your body that's bad, there's terror. How much of that could I take? I don't know. And I think about it, and I'm like, you better be able to take it to the end, to whatever. It doesn't matter. If they started cutting you up little piece by piece, and they were going to go all the way through your whole, whatever it was, the worst thing, this life is not worth it's not worth jeopardizing eternity. And that vision of Paul that I read, that's a scary book and kind of sad. to hear about some of the things that Paul sees as far as hell, basically. I don't know if it's called hell yet, but yeah. All I'm saying is, don't let them do something to your body like that. That's like spitting in God's face to let someone test you even. That's when President Trump and Mike Pence were talking about that test. I didn't know what they were talking about because Trump was like, yeah, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. And Mike Pence was like, yeah, it was bad. Like, Mike Pence, I guess, had a real problem with it. I'll tell you what. That's not a medical procedure. It's just not. A medical procedure, in my assumption of what that would mean, is to not hurt a person. It would be to help them get better. And jabbing something in your brain like that, that's not going to help you get better. If you did that to me on this side, like on this side, it would probably be, I don't have anything wrong on this side, but this side, there's something wrong up, or it's not the way that it was meant to be because of that surgery I had. And like it ever since I had that surgery, it's felt weird up here. And I've always been kind of worried about getting an infection in there, in my sinus or something. I mean, it's even sensitive. Like there's no way that would ever happen. I would not let anyone ever do that. Like, that's why if they ever go door to door, like to test people or something, which I doubt would ever happen. I don't see that being reality. I see them doing it the way they always do government. I mean, if you don't go and get your driver's license renewed, you'll get pulled over and you'll eventually have to either get it renewed or you won't be able to drive, because at a certain point in time they'll just, you have to have a license or whatever. But they'll do it like that. Like, oh, you can't, it'll be like a warrant for your arrest. Like, if you're caught out of your house or whatever, they're probably not going to come to your house and like, we need to test everybody at this house. I just don't see that happening, because you know how many of them would get shot? They'd be shot at my house. There's no way. I'd be like, you and your weird uniforms and your weird gowns that you're wearing, your coronavirus covered stuff, get out of my yard. And like I said, I'd use deadly force. You're not sticking the needle in my arm, or you're not doing any of these things to me. And I don't have children or a wife to take care of, but if I did, there's no way you would be doing it to them. And there's ways to stop them from doing that. And if they're further than they would want to go, then don't try it. Because that's something that I don't know. I don't know why right now I don't know why I feel so strongly about it, but I do. After I saw that video, I'll play that video again and then I'm going to head out of here. But it's not like I want to play it to watch it. It's because of how sickening. This is not a medical procedure, friends. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'm going to play this video. Whoops. And we'll watch it again, and we'll see you next time.